Today we will read the poetry Tigers Forever. It's written by Ruskin Bond and it's the first topic in class 7th. Tigers Forever is a beautiful poem written by Ruskin Bond in which he expresses his wish that the tigers should live forever and never become extinct. His concern is so genuine because the facts state that there are fewer than 3,900 tigers remaining in the wild, which comes to 4% of their historic range, and most of this decline has occurred in the past decade only. So he prays, wishes, and desires that tigers should live forever. Let's read out the poetry. I'll read out the poetry stanza by stanza. Let's read out the first stanza. May there always be tigers in the jungle and tall grass. May the tiger's roar be heard. May his thunder be known in the land. In this poetry, as I just told you, that Ruskin Bond wishes to preserve tigers and wildlife, and the poem begins with May there always be tigers in the jungle and tall grass. The word may tells us that it's a poet's prayer for the life and security of tigers. The poet prays for tigers because tigers are very much essential for the earth because they balance the rest of the ecology and they are very important in the food web. In the next line he says, May the tiger's roar be heard, may his thunder known in the land. The poet wishes the tiger's roar should be heard by people because if they will hear the roar of the tiger, they will be scared of them and keep themselves away from jungles, which will actually save the wildlife and forest. So, in this first stanza, it's a prayer of the poet that tigers should live forever. Coming to the next stanza, at the forest pool by midnight, may he drink and raise his head. Scenting the night wind, may he crouch low in the grass when the herdsmen pass, and slumber in the dark caverns when the sun is high. Before explaining, I'll tell you the meaning of these difficult words. First of all, scenting, which means smelling, crouch, bend, herdsmen, people who look after cattle or sheep. Caverns, large and deep caves. And slumber, sleep. At the forest pool by midnight, may he drink and raise his head. Scenting the night wind, may he crouch low in the grass when the herdsmen pass. The night wind is important for the tiger because it is in the night wind that he senses the smell of a prey. Actually, the tiger hunts animal by jumping upon the herds of animal when they are taken to pastures and back by herdsmen, and for that it should crouch low in the grass. So when the herdsmen will pass or take the cattle to pastures for grazing, at that time, tiger will smell of its prey and by crouching, by bending low in the grass, it will pounce on its prey and slumber in dark caverns when the sun is high. And when the sun is at its peak, when the sun is high, there must always be tigers sleeping in large and deep caves. Moving to the next stanza. May there always be tigers, but not so many that one of them might be tempted to come in search of a meal. Tempted means attracted. In the first two stanza, the poet is praying, wishing. He has a desire that tigers should be conserved. But in this last stanza, the poet is using a humorous tone. He emphasizes that the number of tigers should not exceed beyond the limit. Yes, I want that tigers should be there. Yes, I want that tiger's roar be heard. Yes, I want that tiger's thunder should be known in the land. Yes, I want tigers should live at the forest pool. Tigers should pounce on its prey. But at the same time, I do not want to be the meal of a tiger. May there always be tigers. Yes, again, the poet is saying, yes, tigers should be there, but not so many that one of them might be tempted or attracted to come in search of a meal. So the poet emphasizes that number of tigers should not exceed beyond the limit, as he does not wish to be the meal of tigers. So this is a beautiful poetry in which he expresses his wish and adding a pinch of humor also in the last stanza. Let's know about some poetic devices which are used by the poet in this poetry. Poetic device, actually, it's a technique a writer uses to produce a special effect in their writing. In this poetry, there are three poetic devices which Ruskin Bond used. First of all, it's may and may. This is anaphora. The repeated use of word at the start of two or more consecutive lines is anaphora. Example of anaphora from the poem is this word may. It's used in the beginning of two consecutive lines. So this is the first poetic device. Second poetic device is roar and thunder. This is onomatopoeia. It refers to a word that phonetically mimics or resembles the sound of the thing it describes. Roar and thunder are example of onomatopoeia, and the third one is his head, alliteration. It's a literary device when two or more words in a phrase or a line of poetry share the same beginning consonant sound and word H. It's repeated in the same line in a poetry, so it is an example of alliteration. Here we come to an end. Let's just recapitulate by theme of the poem. Ruskin Bond loves tiger. He loves to have a number of tigers in forest, roaring, hunting, and leaping, but he doesn't want any tiger enter his room to eat him.